Hi, everyone, and thank you for joining us in this wellness component to the program. I'm incredibly excited to be here with you. My name is Tammy Ruse, and as the name may suggest, I am Paul Ruse's wife. I will just give you a little bit of a background about me and why you're actually listening to me on this call here. And I learned to meditate back in 1999. So it's been a bit of a journey. I'm considered a long-term meditator. I meditate daily, and it is something that I'm incredibly passionate about. I know that for myself, the first thing that I do each and every day is meditate so I get the best out of my own ability in terms of tapping into my highest potential, creating that inner space within me that feels more balanced and calm. Because of this passion, I began teaching meditation to others, including some of the Sydney Swans players, which was the team that Paul, my husband, was coaching at the time. And so I began working with professional athletes. I've worked with CEOs in different corporate organizations, teaching all things wellness and meditation. And again, I just could not say enough about this practice. And I'm hoping that you get a lot out of what I'm about to share with all of you and the reasons why it is so important for you as a mother, a father, business owner, a CEO, an exec, be the auntie, the uncle, etc. It is that important to our everyday relationships. But the number one is a relationship that you have with self. So on that note, I actually became so, started witnessing so many different changes within my own world that I did a bit of a 180. I had a background, I had an MBA in international management, and I did a complete flip there. And I actually went on to do a PhD in parapsychic science, and I wrote my dissertation on meditation. So I want to let everyone know here, first and foremost, I do have the scientific background to go with the 25 years of experience where I do sit and I do practice this amazing tool, which is meditation. Meditation for me is what allows me to experience more peace and more calm. It allows me to feel the balance. It allows me to feel that I've got more clarity and that I'm able to, as I said before, just show up to the best of my ability. One of the things that I like to highlight for most people is because we don't stop to actually consider, well, what is peace? And peace is going to be something that's individual. But the one thing that doesn't change is that peace is experienced on the inside of us. It's a feeling we get. It's this inner knowing, like, oh, I'm more at peace today. I feel peaceful or I feel calm. Peace isn't something that we can look at outside of us and then all of a sudden, oh, that's there within me. So it's something that we actually experience on the inner world, is what I like to refer to it as. And it's incredibly powerful when you get into that state of being where you start recognizing the shift at the emotional level. So first and foremost, what is meditation? I like to give a really simple definition to meditation, and that is that it's learning to relax the body and quiet the mind. It's a form of relaxation. And I don't know anyone, who really doesn't like to feel more relaxed. So once again, let's keep it really simple for this discussion because it is simple. That is truly one of the big misnomers about meditation, is that it's challenging or that it's difficult. It's actually not. The only way you fail at meditation is if you just don't show up and sit on the mat or on the chair or on the couch, wherever it may be that you choose to do a meditation at. It's about just setting aside the time for the practice so that you can build the mind muscles to create this sense of wellness that you start building from the inside out. So some of the myths I like to go over with, number one, I just said it is simple and easy. You will have thoughts. And I think that's probably the one characteristics that I still hear from people who say, oh, I tried to meditate, but just, it didn't work. I'm just too busy. I have too many thoughts in my mind. And to be honest, it has done so much harm because some people think that they have to be in the state of Zen and they can have no thoughts and they have to feel bliss. And it's, that's the only way, nirvana, something that they think is outside of their ability to experience. But in reality, all of us, myself included, I still have thoughts at times during my meditations. And it just means that there's no right or wrong practice. There's, one is not superior to another. You find the practice that works for you so that you can actually engage in it on a daily basis, and that's what works. But you will have thoughts. So that's the first myth I really wanted to just kind of like eliminate from the very beginning. Again, you'll have these thoughts that come in. You can visualize them, and there's tools that to the trade, so to speak, to make it easier for you. But you can just visualize thoughts entering your mind as going in one ear and out the other, and simply letting them go. You never lose your thoughts. You'll always be able to come back to them. So that's not the point of meditation. But what is the point of meditation is we each have, well, science has shown that the average human being has 70,000 thoughts a day. So I want you to consider that for a minute. And that's why I'm saying, 70,000 thoughts. If I asked you to start counting it out, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, think about those thoughts. And then we're learning to create mind muscles. Again, remember, we're relaxing the body, quieting the mind to go into that state of deep relaxation. And that's what meditation is. So with that, knowing from the get-go that you will have thoughts. Some days may be better than others, but that's okay. As long as you show up, there's no failing in meditation. You don't have to go off and live in a cave, and you're not going to have dreadlocks, or you don't need to, sit in a lotus position. And it's quite funny because I have had people say to me, oh, I can't meditate because I just can't sit in that pose, where you see the legs crisscrossed. And that's something you see people, obviously, that practice, a lot of yoga or stretching, they have the ability to do that, but you don't have to sit in a contortionist pose to meditate, okay? And you also don't have to necessarily chant. We can focus on breath, there's silence, there's many different forms of meditation. I've actually trained under 4 different forms of meditation. And so what I'm saying here is you find the one that works for you, but it doesn't necessarily involve you chanting out loud, again, going off to a cave or sitting in that contortionist pose. Meditation is also not a religion. Some people get caught on that because they think that it's airy-fairy, so to speak, or it's woo-woo, this spiritual thing. And that's why I really try to simplify it, because I didn't know what I didn't know when I first learned to meditate. And what I mean by that is I had a really open mind when I learned to meditate in 1999. Not a lot of people were talking about it. But once I went to this weekend workshop and I began to understand the benefits of meditation, I was like, this is the game changer. This is that missing link to our health and well-being, to our sense of balance, okay? I had no idea that I was as burnt out as I was, or that I was as tired as I was. I was a mother of 2 young children. My husband was playing sport at a professional level. He was traveling. I left all my friends and family in another country because I relocated from America. We came to Australia. 1 year in Melbourne, we relocated again to Sydney. So I'd had a lot of change in a very short space of time from what you would consider your foundations. And so when I learned, it was like, oh, this is what I need, because I hadn't realized that I was really burning the candle at both ends, okay? So this is why I just became so passionate about it, because again, you don't know what you don't know, but keeping that open mind wasn't a religion. I just am showing up. I'm going to just practice this, see what happens, and then magic unfolded. Every man, woman, and child also has the ability to learn to meditate, okay? If you have a mind, which all of us do, or we wouldn't be here, we wouldn't be alive, then you can actually train the mind to meditate. As I already said, you'll experience thoughts. It is simple and easy. It's just about giving yourself the time to actually prioritize yourself and pause. Now, there's many benefits to meditation, and I've highlighted some of them here for you, but the number one benefit of meditation is a reduction of stress and anxiety. And this is across the board. I mean, there has been thousands and thousands of research studies and review papers written around the world, which I'll briefly highlight a bit later. And truly, what the science shows is it works. But the number one reduction is stress and anxiety. And the picture that I'm hoping to paint here for you is how it has an impact physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, because that makes up this ecosystem of the human being. It has an effect on all levels of our being, but the changes occur on the inside of us, where we can't see it. So the big thing with meditation is about trusting this practice, because it's happening on the inside. We have an increased sense of well-being. So you can see how that would parallel that. So all of a sudden, if your stress and anxiety is lessening, oh, okay, I'm starting to feel better. So you actually start showing up going, okay, this is really good. I'm actually feeling better. My mental clarity is sharpened, my ability to focus increases as well. The reason that happens is when you meditate, the left hemisphere of your brain, the analytical thinking side of the brain, becomes coordinated with the right side of the brain, which is the creative side of the brain. You create this bridge between the two, and that allows like those aha moments, those moments when you are actually tapping into your intuition, the intuitive capabilities that we all do have, but that oftentimes we've just forgotten because we've not recognized that it was there, or because the mental chatter has been so loud in our minds, we actually haven't heard it. But what happens as we create that bridge is not only do we tap into our intuition in the aha moment, but we can create, or what science has shown is a more orderly displayed functioning of the brain, meaning clarity and focus increases. So you can see how that would just be like, wow, if you get rid of that fog, again, it's like, I'm awake, I'm ready to go. That is an amazing way to begin your day, from that power of just, the mindset that is, I'm ready to go and I'm on. This is why, again, I'm so passionate, because I believe that each and every one of us, when we step out that door, we don't want to feel like we're already behind the 8 ball, right? We want to have the best day that we can possible. We start to experience greater calm and insight. And also what we've seen in long-term meditators is that the left prefrontal cortex of the brain physically alters in shape. And what scientists have recognized or highlighted is that that is the place in the brain that is known as the home of acceptance and peace. So you can see if this actually starts physically changing because of the work that you're just doing from this practice of prioritizing yourself and just quieting down and allowing the mind to take a rest. It's amazing that, you can think, oh, wow, this is the common insight. And what actually then happens from them, what we start to notice too, is that our personal relationships are enhanced. Okay, so you're feeling calmer. The number one precursor to poor communication is stress. So if we've reduced the stress and anxiety that you're feeling, and we're starting to really build the feelings of more calm, getting more insight, we're actually building more empathy within us. You can see how every relationship you have, be it with the boss, be it with your staff, be it with your children, your siblings, your mother, your father, your best friend, your friendship group, the team you play on, whatever it may be, you can see how if you show up in this state of balance and your communication actually is more readily received. And then as a byproduct too, you become a better listener, because you're practicing lessening the number of thoughts. You actually show up with more presence. And I'm huge on presence. That's just such a big topic for me, because if we can be in this now moment displaying more presence, we're more available for not only life, but for every relationship we have. And that's a real win-win in this game that we're actually playing here, right? Our time is used more effectively too once we begin to meditate. We start to notice that procrastination is lessened. So I don't know about you, but I was one of those people before I meditated that I'd put off the thing that I didn't want to do. You put it off to the end, and it just weighs over you. And it's like, oh, I really have to do that. I have to focus. This is a priority. And what you recognize is, if I actually do the one thing, meditate, and I start to lessen my time is used more effectively and efficiently. I lessen my procrastination. I do the one thing that's on the list that says I don't want to do it. Then where's that worry? It's all gone, right? It's just gone. And I had a really good example given to me a couple years ago, or actually probably a number of years ago now. And this was a professional player that I was working with, and he was not only playing professional football, but he was also going to school at the same time. And he came in, we were going to have our next session, and he was just buzzing. He was so happy. And he said, I finally have gotten it. And what I loved about his comments that I'm going to share with you in a minute was that he was my most cynical, okay, probably, participant that I'd worked with to date at that time. He wanted to know everything, the science. He had a lot of gaps there. And I commended him for that, because I said, don't just believe me. Go ahead, go and do the research yourself. There's so much out there that you can research and actually see for yourself the data that is there, showing you that this is why we had so many amazing yogis and sages from 2000 years ago, telling us all about the wonderful benefits of meditation. And it's taken the westernized countries a long time to catch up to our Eastern counterparts about why it's such a powerful tool. But what he said was, okay, I had this assignment due. Game was the night before, went to recovery the next morning quite early. And he got back to his apartment and said, instead of putting it off like he always did, he wrote his paper and he was done. And he couldn't believe this sense of this weight off his shoulder, because then he actually had the entire afternoon free. No worries, the weight's off his shoulders, and he couldn't believe the difference. And that's when the penny dropped for him, that he was actually starting to experience what I'd been telling him all along, that the longer you do this, the greater the benefits become, and you start seeing these shifts. But again, you have to trust it, and it's on the inside. And he was amazing because he doubted, but he still persisted because he wanted to see if there was going to be a change. And then he started experiencing that change. And what I want to say about worry is when we're worried, that's the number one emotion that depletes our immune system. It's the number one emotion that truly drains us of like this vital life force that we have. If we're in a state of constant worry, it's like the monkey brain. It just goes on and on and on. And then you realize, all this worry, am I really impacting the outcome with the amount of worry I'm giving it? I know I'm impacting my immune system. So if we can actually lessen the worries we have by practicing being more present in these mindfulness tools, which we're going to be going into, it's amazing the shifts you can start experiencing within your own life. So being still actually nurtures us. It nurtures our soul, but it nurtures our total overall sense of well-being, as I've said so far. It is that place that I can go to within me. If I'm feeling frazzled, if I'm feeling a little bit stressed, it's my go-to. I need to meditate. Even if I've already meditated in the morning, I'm not saying, and I'm not here to say if you meditate in the morning, you're not going to have, challenges arise in the afternoon that don't feel like, okay, that's a bit of a challenge. What I'm suggesting with this, and what I know to be true, is that not only can you regulate, so the longer you meditate, what we see is that we become less reactionary and we become much more responsive. So in this space where we're actually nurturing ourselves, okay, something comes up, I've got a really stressful board meeting, or I've got to make, I'm running late to pick up the kids for school. Something has cropped up in our lives that we weren't expecting, and we're feeling frazzled. We can go back to our breath, and as simple as like a 5-cycle breath exercise or 10 cycles, which might take you 3 to 5 minutes, we can bring us back to a sense of balance. And these are just little quirks, these are little tools, but this is why I say it nurtures our soul, because it's just about pausing. If we just allowed and gave ourselves permission to pause without the guilt, without the excuses, and just saying, I need this, but if I do this, not only will I be better, but everyone else around me will be better for it, and potentially the outcome of whatever my challenge is going to be improved as well, okay? So again, I mentioned to you about all the research and review papers, and so many in 33 countries worldwide. Now, this was when I was doing my PhD that I grabbed this data, but we were knowing, especially during the pandemic that everyone obviously has just experienced worldwide, the number of papers being published now on a yearly basis is in the hundreds. So I actually feel that this number is very outdated, and I apologize for that. But it is just, it's again, everyone knows that there is something to this science behind meditation. We know it works. The mental activity slows down in a natural way, and our benefits are cumulative with a regular practice. There's no pill out there that science or the pharmaceutical companies, whatever in the world, have actually developed that actually have as many benefits that meditation provides us. Again, remember, it's natural, and that everything, it's not like we're not consuming anything, but what it does require is that we take the time. Okay, we take the time to pause and prioritize ourselves. So our balance is so much on our outer world, right? I was talking about the external, how, we're really focused externally. We have our work, our family, and our play. That's all external. What I'm talking about is this internal world of mind, body, spirit, this world where we become connected to what's really going on within me. What makes me happy? What makes me unhappy? Do I like doing this? Don't I like doing this? Do I have really good boundaries? Don't I have good boundaries? All these things start coming to awareness the more you slow down your thoughts. And that's what starts to really empower you, is because you get more in touch with who you are, that connection to your heart. You go, oh, that's not literally is not anything to do, with saying it's something woo-woo, or, there's so much data now, heart, mind, math, everything. There's so many different, I guess, with neuroscience and vibrational medicine and different companies and organizations out there that are showing us the data. So not just me here sitting there telling me this on this call, that it works, and that this is the focus that we really should be, looking at the moment, is on us. Because again, the more we build that up, the greater the benefits. So the many health benefits of meditation. Okay, so I've already mentioned some of the health benefits, but depression has been shown to be reduced with a consistent practice. High blood pressure is reduced, hyperactivity, reduction of stress, which obviously leads to a reduction in heart disease and stroke, reduction of pain, enhances the immune system. I mean, the data was that with a 6-week practice, we can boost our immune system. Okay, so think about this, just from actually pausing, we can actually boost our immune system by 37%. That's pretty incredible when you think about it, to be able to boost your immune system just by pausing, not doing anything else but this meditation practice. Our sleep is improved. And what we have seen and shown is that if you are in a consistent practice, and I'll keep going back to, when I say consistent, anything over that 6-week mark is a consistent practice where we have been showing up daily. It's a consistent practice. We've been prioritizing ourselves. Our sleep is improved tremendously. With a 20-minute meditation, where we really fall into that slot, they've equated this to equivalent of 4 hours sleep. So I want you to think about that, like this sense of, oh my gosh, like my sleep, we're often feeling like we're running on empty, right? And I guess the best analogy I can give you for that is that our mobile phones. If you step out your front door and your mobile phone is at 17% battery, all of us are looking for a way to recharge our battery, because we get so concerned that we're going to run out. We won't be able to get our emails. We're not going to be able to make phone calls. We might miss something that we really have prioritized this digital device, our mobile phone, as being a #1 priority. And when we look at that battery, we can see, okay, so we consciously will find that place to plug it in. So what I'm asking you to think about is, what is it to plug, how are we plugging ourselves in? And that's what meditation does. You plug yourself in to recharge the batteries, okay? So we literally, when we meditate, we take ourselves out of fight or flight, okay? So we are actually impacting positively the autonomic nervous system. We go out of fight or flight. So it's like, think of yourself, our foot is on the gas pedal. We're always going, right? We're like, go, go, go. From the minute we wake up, we're going full steam ahead. When you meditate, that's the pause, okay? We're stepping out of the parasympathetic nervous system into the sympathetic nervous system. Everything starts to calm down naturally in a beautiful way, and the body starts to heal. The body starts to recharge. So yes, it's not a power source, okay? Outside of us, we're plugging into some electrical socket like our phones. The power source is you, by pausing, by going to your breath and recharging your batteries from the inside. Studies have also shown about migraines, reduction of migraines. And when I was living in Sydney, Australia, I remember the local hospital did a study, and they wanted people who had been long-time sufferers of migraines to come in, and they ran a meditation practice. And again, it's that magical time, 6-week consistent practice. They had experienced such significant shifts, because migraines really are a lot about the stress that we're experiencing, right? And again, the #1 benefit is reduction of stress and anxiety. The participants were able to get off of their medication. So I want you to think about that, like if you're someone who suffers from migraines, there's so many benefits, but what it's really saying is our stress, our anxieties, our worries, they do impact us. They impact us mentally, emotionally, physically, again, headaches, pain in the body. Some of you might have that experience that we're walking around with the weight of the world on our shoulders, or we carry, the tension in our necks. What we do, the more we practice, is that everything starts coming back to a state of balance. We start harmonizing the body, and that's incredibly powerful for all of you to recognize. Again, this is so powerful, and there's so many benefits that I am very well aware, in the United States at least, that healthcare companies are giving you rebates, okay, on your healthcare, which we know is outrageously expensive in the USA, if you learn to meditate, because it takes the stress off the system. You are less sick, you are healthier, you are feeling in better health, that your wellness has increased. So that to the untrained mind, and I think this is really interesting for all of you to understand, because as business leaders or mothers or fathers, you know, any role really that we're playing, any man or woman on this planet, and our children as well, when we have an untrained mind, okay, we tend to get challenged by our external circumstances. All right, so remember what I was saying to you, the longer we meditate, we become much more responsive and less reactionary. So if something pops up, we have the ability to go, okay, pause, like I can be aware of what's going on before I respond, before I might say something that I wish I didn't say. And then it's like, oh, I can't take it back. Okay, so this is characteristics of the untrained mind. They want to give up. You retreat to a place of comfort, safety, low risk. You may experience feelings of panicking. Again, I've already mentioned the emotionally reactive. You're not present and your mind is racing, okay? And I'm sure for some of you, you've had that experience before where your mind's racing, someone's speaking to you, you're not very present because you're already moving on to the next almost like catastrophe in your mind. It's just out of control. It's like this freight train. And so, really that is the untrained mind. You're not focused. You don't have the clarity or the perception to really go, what needs to be done in this moment? And one of the big discussions that went on for a long time here is the difference between mindfulness and meditation. Meditation, I've described to you at length. What mindfulness does for us is, I believe we have to practice meditation first and foremost before we start really cultivating mindfulness, because mindfulness is being aware of what we need to be aware of in order that then we can do something about it. But if our mind's racing, again, remember going back to what I said, the average human being having 70,000 thoughts a day. If our mind's racing, if we're starting to experience some such challenges, okay, we all have the rise and fall in life, right? There's ups and downs, days that we might classify as good and bad. Obviously, in those moments, when those things crop up, that's when we're really challenged. And if we haven't been, training the mind to really learn how to go back to the breath, it's very, very hard to be mindful. That's why I really encourage most people, when we talk about the difference between meditation and mindfulness, that is the difference. The more you meditate, the better you are to be mindful. Now, this is a report I'd like to just show you. This is like what's going on. What is going on in our real world? And this was a Productivity Commission report given in October of 2019. And at that time, mental health and suicide were costing Australia $500 million a day. Lost productivity from mental health and suicide was $18 billion a year. And you can see the numbers here. It hit the economy up to about, and they're saying conservatively, $51 billion a year. The costs associated with our health, I mean, I don't even really need to go on that. I think all of us have been experiencing, so this was even prior to COVID, okay? This is prior to the pandemic. So you can imagine that now we've had so many different things occur, and a lot of people that talk about things that make us feel a little bit out of control, right? So what can I control? That's what I like to focus on. We know the data is there that's saying that, things have been pretty challenging. All right. We know that there's a lot of Australians that are seeking some assistance in terms of their mental health, but there is an impact on our businesses when those things start occurring. But the one thing that I would say and remind all of you with, with so many stress-related issues that are cropping up for most people is control what you can control. So, and if there's so many beautiful ways. So if my suggestion is that for each and every one of you, you can actually integrate this not only into your own lives at home. I start my day, I really believe that if I begin the day with my meditation and my practices, it's, you win the morning, you win the day. It's just like a farmer when you're actually getting ready to, sow the new crop. You're preparing the earth, aren't you? And you're getting everything right so that you have the perfect um, scenario or ingredients to have a good crop. This is exactly what I'd like you to think about with meditation. We're preparing us for the best day that we can have. We know that, again, like I said, there's challenges happening all around us on a day-to-day basis. And I think that if we can truly learn to prioritize ourselves, take a pause, not feel guilty, okay? There's 1,440 minutes in a 24-hour clock. And if you only set aside 10 minutes a day, 10 minutes a day, you can start making significant changes. So the one stat down here saying that 1 in 4 Australians have taken time off in work in the past 12 months to manage your mental health injuries. You can imagine that if we start doing this, and if everyone is starting to actually prioritize themselves, again, remember taking the awareness internally, then we should see those numbers definitively start to drop, okay? Because we're doing what we haven't been doing, which is learning to prioritize self in order to be healthier and happier and feeling that balance and harmony in our day-to-day basis. Tim Ferriss, some of you may have known about, and he's this tribe of mentors. And he asked 140 people at the top of their field 11 questions, okay? And it was the same 11 questions. So I think the one thing that he said, though, is that 90% of the participants said that these are the most successful people. Remember, 90% spent some form of meditation or mindfulness daily, okay? 90%. I remember seeing a clip that just came across, and you've got Jerry Seinfeld now. Obviously, I would say most people consider probably the most successful comedian we've graced in at least my time. And he said he meditates twice a day. He said he could not do it. He does not know how people show up without meditating. There's numerous examples of people at that high end of their career, at that highest level, that have been embracing this, be it from the CEOs that are listed on the Forbes, richest list, saying that they meditate each and every day, to a Kobe Bryant, who was incredibly passionate about his meditation practice as well. We see different teams doing this, and they are reaching and excelling and getting to the highest of levels. Okay, and there's, it's like, I think about this. Why do we think we don't need it if these top performers around the world are all saying, "Hi guys"? So it's like, if we just stop, if we're curious, if we go, you know what, why don't I just try it? I have nothing to lose, 10 minutes a day, but I have so much to gain. And that's what I want you to really start questioning here. So it's about, again, we are learning to train the mind. And I have this really cute little, I guess, I don't even know what you call that. It's not an emoji, but anyway, here we go, this graphic here with lifting the weights, right? Creating mind muscles, because you are going to be learning to create mind muscles. Again, we've reduced procrastination, we enhance our decision-making abilities by this, because we have increased clarity and focus, our personal relationships are improved, we have greater insights. And this is all the mental side of this. This is the mental training. Resiliency, there's a huge link between being resilient, more resilient. So meditation or mindfulness and resilient. Mindful people can better cope with difficult thoughts and emotions without becoming overwhelmed or shutting down. It's cultivated from within by how we perceive and then react to stressors. I wanted to read that because it's incredibly important and it reiterates everything that I've been saying. Resilience is cultivated from within, okay? When I was growing up as a child, once again, we were taught about how much, exercise we should be getting, about our food groups, about drinking enough water and getting enough sleep. We were never ever taught in school or spoken to about, even from our families, really, truly, in the United States. I didn't know anyone who was meditating as I was growing up as a child. So we weren't taught it, but the difference is now we've got so much information out there and it's something that we can actually pick up. We're always learning. And I think that that's the beautiful thing. And there's no judgment in this. It's about, let's just keep learning. What can we do to support each other? What can we do to find solutions to some of the issues that we may be feeling or experiencing, and working together in that sense of community? Because if I can lift myself up, then that means that I can lift up others around me, in terms of, if I show up with more positive emotions, I'm a better listener. I'm showing them that I care. My clarity and focus, I'm making better decisions. I procrastinate less and my worry goes down, and I focus on what I can do. Can you see how this all pans out into actually cultivating the best day possible? Okay. And I want to say here too, if you forget a day when you meditate, that's okay. Just pick it up the next day. This isn't about, and it shouldn't be something that you look at as work. I show up to meditate because I go, oh, wow, I crave this. This is like, I 100% know the difference if I meditate versus when I don't. I know how I've shown up in my day. And I always want to show up from that higher recharge state. I've plugged my battery in. But if I have not been able to get a meditation in the morning because I've had an early flight, something's happened, I don't know, I've overslept on the alarm or something, I will make sure I find time during the day to get that meditation in, so that I can recharge and bring myself back to my center, to feeling really grounded and centered. So there was a World Happiness Report, and I love this. And they said well-being and resilience are skills, once again, that we can learn and cultivate for sustained positive emotion, resiliency, empathy and altruism, pro-social behaviors. So our generosity of spirit and mindful attention. I spoke to you about the prefrontal cortex changing shape, okay, in the home of acceptance and peace, and this idea that we become less reactive the more that we meditate, and more responsive, because we found time within us to recharge, okay? A lot of people think that when we sleep overnight, that's this time when we, oh, that's where I rest my mind. But our mind is still doing a lot of things. We're still breathing, right? When we sleep, we're dreaming. The average human being has 5 to 7 dreams a night. Whether you remember them or not, it doesn't matter. You're still having 5 to 7 dreams a night. And it's unbelievable, because it's our internal world. So that is trying to, when we sleep, we're trying to bring ourselves into this state of really deep rest. Again, meditation, for myself, what I've witnessed is it allows us, almost like a filing cabinet, to file away the things that we don't need, that we've experienced during the day. So I have a deeper, more restful sleep, and I wake up feeling more recharged from this consistent practice. Then I meditate come morning, and again, it's that mindful attention. I show up. People all around us, ourselves included, we want to be heard, we want to be seen, we want to know we're appreciated. If we're feeling really stressed and we can't hear, we can't even feel into, perhaps you walk into a room, there's a bit of tension, but you're not really sure why, but we're feeling stressed ourselves. It's like we don't stop to pause and say, what's going on here? You can see how that actually can start having this play, is if you showed up a different scenario and going, oh, something's happened. Are you okay? How are you going? You show up, I'm feeling good in myself. It could be as easy as offering someone a smile, and you can make a difference to a room or a person's day. But that's because you're cultivating those emotions within you. You're trusting your practice. Benefits are on the inside, okay? And again, I mentioned trust before, but if we go to a gym, we can see our results really quickly. We know that we are running faster on the treadmill, or we're lifting more weights, or things don't seem as challenging in terms of the effort we're exerting. That's because we can see it building, right? Again, this is slow, cumulative steps. Everything is happening on the inside, and then we get these great aha moments. So there's a multitude of wealth inside each of you, hidden gems waiting to be discovered. And I truly believe that you are more powerful than you actually recognize. But with life, we tend to get so busy that they get sometimes we can't hear or feel them or even know that they're there for us. And oh, wow, that's a skill set. That's actually something I do really well. But maybe we're not even cognizant that we have that skill set because our mind is so busy and we're just trying to keep up. We're in a bit in that fight or flight all the time. So again, trust the practice. The shifts happen, someone else will notice it for you, okay? Maybe even before you do. As I said, I gave you the example of the footy player who actually recognized when he got his homework done, an assignment done before his pattern had changed. He shifted it. For me, I'll share my experience. I was 4 months into my meditation practice, and a neighbor pointed out and said to me, Tammy, what are you doing? You're so different. You're so different. And I'm going, not, still doing the kids, the husband's still working, traveling, running the house. I'm doing all the things, everything's the same. I'm exercising. Nothing. She goes, no, you're really different. You're so much more calm. And she goes, you're glowing. And then I stopped and I went, oh my gosh, the only thing different I've been doing is meditating. That was my aha moment. And the teacher that we had learned from, the weekend we learned, said, you may not notice it, but others around you will notice it first. And that will be your aha moment. And that's exactly what happened for me. It was when my neighbor pointed out, and again, I went into a little bit of like, oh God, was I yelling a lot? Was I had no patience. Like, how was I showing up? But it was like this amazing lesson for me to see, like, here she was telling me, pointing out that, yes, keep going, because whatever you're doing, it's working. You are showing up differently. And, for myself, when we feel more at peace, we all want to feel that way. That is a much better way than to feel stress and to feel anxious or to have a lot of worries. So it's powerful. Meditation is the link between strong body and strong mind. Okay, there's a direct correlation. The more physically relaxed your body is, the easier it is to quiet your mind. And I suggest to some people, that they can actually go out and if they wish, move the body if they're feeling really uptight, and then they can go into a meditation or go for a run, or they practice yoga, or they go to the gym, whatever it is. It could even be going out and sitting on a bench outside and just focusing on the breath. But movement is, we want to be healthy, we want to move, we want to enjoy life. There's so many beautiful life is meant to be enjoyed. There's a lot out here in this world for us to be grateful for. And I just think sometimes that life gets us that we think that we forget to see just how wonderful this is, and how blessed we are to be here experiencing life. But we should be experiencing it feeling joyful and happy. And so that's why I'm passionate, because I want people to know you can show up feeling more of those emotions than the alternatives of the overwhelm and perhaps anxiety and just this feeling of pressure. We can actually alter that just by looking after who we are. And at this point, I'd love for you to do a 2-minute breath awareness exercise. Okay, I just want you to simply close your eyes, and I want you to focus on the sound of your inhalation and your exhalation with your physical ears. I really want you to listen right now. And I'm actually going to watch the time here so that we know that we're going this. So inhaling, listen to the sound of your inhalation, and exhale. And again, inhaling and exhaling. Inhaling and exhaling. Begin to become aware of the chair that you're sitting on. And perhaps you're starting to experience your muscles feeling heavier as you just focus on the inhalation and the exhalation. Reminding yourself there's nowhere to go, that this moment is perfect. It's exactly as it should be. As we inhale and exhale. Inhaling and exhaling. Becoming aware of the connection between your breath, your body, just sensing that relaxation. Inhaling and exhaling. Inhaling and exhaling. And now gently just bringing your awareness back to the room that you're sitting in and gently opening your eyes. And actually just tuning into how you feel now, just with that simple 2-minute exercise. And I'm wondering if you became aware that the more that you just focused on the sound of your breath, sitting on the chair feeling supported, the muscles getting heavier, that you recognized your thoughts slowed down and diminished, and the body felt more relaxed. And I've just given you one of the greatest tips. Science has said if you physically listen with your ears to the inhalation and exhalation, you cannot have a thought. And that's the power of the strong body, strong mind. Now, when I was doing my PhD, I referenced this because I do think it's powerful, and it really comes into summarizing so much of what we've been talking about here. And there was a book written, it's called The Quiet, and it's really about work-life balance. But to be honest, it's really just life. And what he did was he interviewed for his book, Paul Wilson was his name, the author, long-term meditators, as well as others. But it was this one distinct group of long-term meditators that came out, and they all had these same characteristics. They felt happiness, contentedness, peace of mind, clarity of thinking, fulfillment, feeling as if they're in good health. They had no worries, and my life has purpose. And that was the group, as I mentioned, of long-term meditators. And that group is the group that stood out from the rest of everyone that he interviewed. Those are the characteristics that they experienced. No other group was experiencing all of those characteristics. And that's, I think, for myself, self-explanatory. So when you're in that place, you're in the winning zone. You're maximizing your inner strengths. You're enhancing your decision-making skills. You have more presence. You have more compassion. You're feeling balanced. Your happiness is increased. Healthy habits are reducing stress. You have more energy. You're maximizing your focus and reducing procrastination. And to be honest, that's an incredible place, right? And you can see how even in the family life, if you're doing this, and if your family members are feeling this, in your office space, if you can start encouraging even, perhaps it's a Monday meditation, 10 minutes in the morning before you start your day, rather than getting caught up on all the things you have to do. If you look at just this list here, think about how your day unfolds. Your ROI is going to take care of itself completely. And the other thing that you're going to really, really generate in this space is that you've got more loyalty. Your colleagues or your peers know that you care. Same with your family members. You're all on the same page. You all want to be stepping into this winning zone, and that is the win-win. So you owe it to yourself to meditate, breathe, and recharge. And I hope that this really, ignites a little bit of curiosity within you, perhaps inspires you to begin a meditation practice and really look to develop that, because this is the game changer. This is that missing link that I said for your health, okay, for your wellness, and truly, this is the game changer. Take care, and I really enjoyed speaking with you all.